viewers. Today's video is really a continuation of last week's video. Last week's video kind of ran out of time, ended. I was a little upset because I was absolutely positive of where that problem was. Unfortunately, we had a little errors going on that caused it to kind of multiply into making it another problem. But as you're going to see in this video, I got to the bottom of it, corrected them, and we're going to end this one on a much better note. So, without further ado, let's take a look at what we did after last week's video. Alright, so this is the capstan motor drive amplifier. And on the capstan motor drive amplifier, there's this cap right here, which is C4. And everybody says you should replace these old caps like this. So I thought I'd replace this cap. And this is where I ran into trouble. So this is a picture of the board. The layout of the actual PCB board. And I'm now going to zoom in to this little section over here. And you can't see all the traces on this, but let me point out the where this cap solders in. Okay, so this cap soldered in here, 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 and this one right here is the positive, right in the center. Okay, so those three were the negative. This was the positive. Now, what you don't see here also was there was a ground trace coming up from the connector. This is where the power connector came in. And there was a ground trace that came up here, okay, and connected to here. All right, like that. So then it went down here someplace. There was another trace up here that went off, somewhere else on the board from this point right here. And there was a little trace between these two pads right here. You see there's another pad there and there's another pad there. There's a little trace there and there. Now, when I remove this, okay, let me show you. There actually is one more. There's actually a pad. No, I think there's a trace here, here to here, and here to here, I believe it was. Anyway, when I remove this cap, okay, I realized that this connection, because I beeped it, didn't make a connection anymore. So I figured I needed a ground here. All right, I needed a connection to make a ground. So I put a jumper from here to here on the circuit board, which connected those 2 points together and made this trace connect to this trace. And that's what I did and figured that was fine. However, when I put in the new cap, I put the new cap between here, positive here, and negative out here. That's because that's where the old cap was connected at that point. However, this point doesn't go anywhere. Okay? With the old cap, these were connected together because it was a solid joint there. But with the new one, no connection there. So in the end, what I did is I put a jumper here, across here like this, and basically that jumped this ground over to this ground here because my cap was already installed there. And that took care of that ground issue like that. Alright, this is the schematic actually just blown up on the right hand side, that capstan motor drive amplifier. This here is C4 that we're just talking about. And so basically, I didn't have a connection, let's say here. Alright, and one end was connected, one end was not connected. And so here comes the real mystery. So when I run it and it plays for a minute and then it actually basically stops playing dead. And, so I went back, I looked, I said, oh, C4, I screwed it up, whatever.
I solder it back in, still won't work. And after checking this board, what happens is I blew up one of these output transistors. All right, one or more of them actually. Let's see here. This is 7090. You're right. So this one here, you got three of them, which is 1, 2, 3, and then 4, 5, 6. So these three here are your PNPs, and the other ones are the NPNs. Okay. So as per the schematic here, okay, they say they should all be the same manufacturer for the best wow and flutters. So I ordered all new ones of these, and I put these all in. And then the motor was turning still, but I still wasn't getting the speeds. All right, this is the Taco sensor board. And if you remember from the last video, we had this problem right here with this TCM2. Okay, and it was because this cap was broken right over here. So in any case, TCM2 still was putting nothing out. All right, now I've replaced the caps. I replaced all of these caps, and it still didn't work. So I put this all together with the motor and everything so I could troubleshoot it outside from the unit. And I can see right here, I was getting this 5.5 megahertz signal, so I knew that was good. Okay, I could track all the way down into here. This IC was good, and I thought I saw it coming out of here, but I don't think I saw anything coming out of here at this point, as compared to what was coming out of the top one over here. All right, so I did the easiest things first, is I swapped these two ICs around. All right, no change. Same difference after I swapped those two ICs around. Okay, so in here, this IC is IC5, which is just a TL072, and this is IC2, which is a TL072, and actually I replaced this IC. No change. Still the same, nothing out here. This one, this IC4 here, is actually a dual driver. This is, I was mistaken in the first one. This is where the Schmidt trigger happens, and what actually turns this into a square wave is right here. This IC right here is turning this signal into that square wave that we expect to see out of there. Really badly drawn there. Okay, so that's this IC. Well, I checked power. I mean, I was getting power here. I checked ground here. I started going everywhere. So what I would do is, I actually had pulled the IC out, and I went from this pin on this IC to this pin on this IC and see if I read 10K, and I did. I go from this pin to ground, see if I read this 5.6, I did. I go from this pin over here, positive, and see if I read this 10K, I did. I mean, I read all of these signals, checked all of these things. I was getting signal, or I was getting continuity and stuff through here. Everything seemed to be connected correctly. Okay, and then I looked at the circuit board, and right on the edge where I had replaced these 1 microfarad caps, see this 1 microfarad right here? Okay, it's a 1 microfarad cap to ground. I looked on the circuit board and I saw a positive line there, and I realized I put this cap in backwards. This one cap was in backwards. So I swapped the cap around, boom, signal out here. Signal out here, everything looks good, and let me show you how this thing works now. Okay, before we
see this thing actually doing stuff. Let's take a look at those signals, the TCM1 and the TCM2 signals in the play mode of the machine. All right, so let's see this thing play. It does make a few squeaks yet because there are a few things I need to that are dragging and tightening up. I will deal with all that stuff, but let's put it through its paces right now. So what do you think about that? After 1 year plus, we're finally rolling tape. I'm pretty excited about this. This has been a long time coming on this machine. And, now we just got to tweak it a little bit now, get it all to work perfectly. But it is working right now. So I'm pretty happy. And all I can say is, please subscribe to the channel. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Click the bell for notifications and I'll let you know when the next one comes out. But it might be a little while. I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to celebrate on this one. Thank you and see you soon.